Hello everyone and welcome to this second part of the React tutorial. So in the earlier part we created this very basic counter. Now many people of you would be like, now I'm done now, but we can create many things with React other than a simple or basic counter like this. So one of the things that people like to create with React is like social media websites, e-commerce applications, and there is so much that you can do with React. But React's state system, like this user state and the, you can say, the prop system, is not enough to create an e-commerce website. So in this tutorial we will be introducing you to a third-party library which is named Redux, and Redux will help us solve all our issues related to React. Now, what are the issues? Now, we created this without any hassle because this has a single component home. Now, React tells us that if a very complex website is there, like say a very complex website with something like a navbar at the top, yeah, and a footer at the bottom. So React says that the footer should not be interested in what is going on at the navbar. And you know why it does that? Because that keeps things simple and just straightforward. Footer just does the exact same thing, or does the thing that it is supposed to do, and it should not or may not or must not interfere in the matters of the navbar. Very nice. Now this is a single component, so we would be able to create any website or anything with it without any hassle. But in a complex website you would have multiple components like a navbar component, a footer component, a header component, and many of these. Now React will restrict the flow of data in these components. Now, now what I will be doing in the what I will be doing, it will be very clear with what now what I said just now will be very clear with what I will be doing right now. So right now let's create a new file. Let's name it cart.jsx. It's not JSZ. Rename this to JSX. Enter. And here we create a functional React component function cart, send some props, and it returns something. Now we will be creating an e-commerce application which will have a cart that will show how many items are added in our cart, and a few products. So this is our cart, and it will be given a property of how many items are there in the cart. So here we do return, we do items in cart to props dot title. Save that. And we do here, we select JavaScript, items in cart, props dot title, and now here we will delete all this. But before doing this, we will create another thing. We'll save that. Create now products dot JSX. Save that. And here we will do exact same thing. Function cart, not cart, but we will do functions products. This also has some props of it, and we return an h1 of props dot title, the title of or the name of the product we are buying, and I think we would have a price. Then this is a very straightforward application. Just have a price. Now p what is happening here? Oh, we should wrap this in a JSX fragment, and here we should have a p, and right here props dot summary or price. And misspelled it. Save that, and here we would import all of them. Import products, product or products. We have product from dot slash products, and import cart from dot slash cart. Very nice. And here we will have a cart component. Okay, and we give simple props not items, or here we will do items is equal to, currently there are say 0 items in our cart, and it is recommended that you write anything that you give your props in this JSX fragment. That makes your code look good, as well as it makes it work in some circumstances. Now we will add a few products in our cart. Now product, there should be many various products. You can also have this kind of syntax or self-closing tag, and you could write here title is equal to, I can also use string here for, let's say title is equal to apples, and summary we would do price is equal to, say, $10, and copy this up and paste it. Here we have oranges with $100. We have $1. We have $90, and here we have $18. Here we have apples. Here we have grapes. Here we have mangoes. Here we have bananas. Very fine. I will say this card.js as well. And oh, we forgot to export them. Now that is a very common mistake. Default, and save this, as well as here export default. You actually have to export them to import them in other places. Let me see what is here. Oh no, now this is not inside some fragments. Like we would like to write JSX fragment for this. Save 5, and we have this thing. We have items in cart 0, we have apples, we have ₹10, oranges, ₹100, bananas, ₹90, mangoes, ₹1, and grapes, ₹18. Very fine. Here we have products. Now let me have another button inside them, and this button we should add a functionality, add to cart. Now add to cart. Now how can we do something that it is added to cart, and our cart component is aware that how many items are there in the cart? This is almost impossible to do with React. Now you can do this with event emitters and all those kind of crazy things, but with Redux you can do it very elegantly. I can say very simply or very nicely. So here I have already imported Redux. I suppose that, let's check that. Uh, and here we have Redux and React Redux. You need these two dependencies to work with Redux. Now Redux is a very crazy library. Like with Redux you will have a single state, like a single state is a single heap or a single, you can say a room for your data, and where any of your components can take out data at any time. Now it is a bit like ditching your React's default, what we say, these hooks, these set state hooks and all those kind of hooks, but React Redux provides its own hooks to use Redux with React. Now Redux is a single library and React is a single library. React Redux acts as a bridge to connect them both. So both are needed. So now here, now I like to explain everything in this way. Save that. And here, now Redux will have its own state. Okay, and React, you don't have any, you will not create any kind of state in React. And what React Redux does is that it tells it takes data out of Redux and gives it to React. Okay, so many people say that Redux is very hard, and this is also a fact that Redux is not the only library that does that. There are other libraries too, like many of them are there, but they are less popular. The most popular of them is Redux. Many big companies which use React also use Redux, and I personally prefer Redux because it is better than any other library because of, it's, you understand why it is better. Now Redux is very easy. According to some people it is hard, but according to me it's really easy if you learn it. Now you create a new file, save it as a store.js, not inside the source, and this store.js will act as your store, and a store, like the thing you call state in React is store in Redux, so it's one piece, it's the same thing. Okay, now your store. Now to use Redux more efficiently you would have to install an extension which is here, this Redux Devtools. And Redux Devtools tells that if there is a store, and what is the store, what are the parameters, and all of these kind of things. Now Redux stores data in like JavaScript format. So before creating store you would have to create reducers. And what are these reducers now? Now reducers let me create a reducers folder, reducers, and inside this folder a new file, and save that as cart reducer.js. Save that, and reducers take in an initial state. Okay, this is an initial state, that is a JavaScript object that will contain of things like, now it will contain things like, you can say items or total items, that is a number currently. As it is an initial state, this will be the state at the beginning. Now initial the total items 0, and items, like, now this item is a list of all the items that are currently in your cart. Now total items is the number of items, and items are the items, their price, and their objects. Okay, and there comes in a reducer. So we will have a JSX arrow function, cart reducer, const cart reducer, cart reducer is equal to, and this will take two parameters. First of all is the initial state, where the state is equal to initial state. Now, Redux is built on top of functional programming principles. That means that you take in a state, okay? Now, you have a state, and that state is known as the initial state. And this initial state is the state. And if any action is passed, now it takes this state, and according to the action, it converts the state and gives it back. So the initial state is not touched. This variable is not touched. Wait, let me find it as a constant. It's not touched, but you modify it and you return another variable. Now this is very fine in saying. Now let's look at how this works in action. Now you perform a switch case. Now reducer, what is an action? Now reducer works upon these actions. Like, an action is hunger is an action. And now let me switch action dot type, and here we have different cases, and this is a switch case function. And if the type of action is hunger, then state dot eat food is equal to true. You can have this kind of syntax. Now in this case, we are not creating a hunger application or something like that. We are creating a simple shopping cart application. So add item will be our, and the type of the action, your action is an object which has two parameters, type and payload. So the action.type is almost is a convention. There is a convention to write the action.type in uppercase letters, like add item, and we will add that item. Now add item, so what is the item? Now we will state dot items plus is equal to a action dot payload. And now this action dot payload will be a dynamic thing. Like, now you have a product, and every product is different, right? So action dot payload is the payload, or a kind of an object that you want to be carried out in your reducer. Or reducer, in other words, or in simpler words, a reducer needs a payload of an action sometimes. So you may give action.payload, or you may not. So action.payload, now here action.payload, and when you will see this, it will be very clear to you. And also, the most important step, we return the state. Okay, not initial state, but the state. Now case delete item. delete item. And you know what, we should not write this in the form of a list but in form of an object, because I think if an object will be stored in a list, it will be all stored according to their indexes, but in an object it will be stored according to their title, so that will be nice. So state.items. Now here we can do uh, const title is equal to action dot payload dot title. Okay, now state dot. Now how do we do this? Now that implementation was good, I think, for right now. And after that we will add delete item and all those kind of complicated stuff. First of all, let me do this, and we will do default. The default, if any other thing is the other action is that we simply return a state. Save that, very fine. And your store is still not created till now, so you would actually have to import this in your store. So import dot slash import, what is the name of this reducer? Oh, first of all have to export default import. We have cart reducer as the name. Oh, what is happening? See, cart reducer from dot slash reducers slash cart reducer. Very nice. Now cart reducer. Now you will also import create store from Redux. Import create store from Redux. Now your store export defaults. You can export it later too. Now store is equal to constant store. This is equal to Redux create store and the reducer card reducer. Save. If there are multiple reducers, you could also add combine reducer, and you can have multiple reducers as well, and they will be combined as a single big store. Till now you have created your store, but that is not complete till now. The thing you have to do is you have to go in your index.js and we import the store here. Import store. We have not exported it yet. Export default store. Save that. Import store from dot slash store. Very nice. And also import provider from React Redux. I said that this mines React with Redux, and that's exactly what it is doing right now. Now put that up and write it provider and we paste it in. Now store is equal to store. Okay, very nice. And we'll create store from Redux. So I think it is create store or lowercase or or uppercase, create store. Now, yeah. Now this is not a default export. This is side of this. This create store. Save that. And now export default constant card reducer, and this is the issue here. So I recommend that in these issues you just cut off this, paste that in the end, and write card reducer. Save. See. Still, now we can ignore this little warning here. 5, and we have this control plus shift psi. And let me check that is our store detected. Oh, not. So I think let me reload that. A 5. We are using no store found. Here, store create store card reducer. Store, and we have a provider here. Proc.jsx. No, in index.js we have a provider. It may be that I'm currently offline, that's why. So now I think we have Redux. So let me test it. So we have this store, but we are not, dispatching actions, and we cannot dispatch actions. First of all, to dispatch actions, we have to create actions. So I will create a new folder. New folder. Just name actions, and here inside actions, a new file that is saved as index.js. Okay, and index.js, and this is the second index.js, and here we will import store from dot slash store.js. Save that, and here we do store.dispatch. We can store.dispatch any kind of action, but before that we should write function. So export const function. This we will have an arrow function here. So import store from store, and export const, let this be add item. So okay, now const add item is equal to, and we will have some parameters inside it. So first of all will be the title of that, and the second will be the title and the price. Yes, these are the two things, and we will store dot dispatch, and we will have a action type, and type of the action will be not get. What was the, we can check that in reducers add item. Add item is the type of that action, and payload, and payload would be title to title, and price would be the imported price. And another thing that we are not doing in card reducers is we should add the total items. So total items should be incremented by 1 whenever there is an update. Plus is equal to 1, we added 1. Now nice, we are doing everything correctly, right? and this is not defined. Oh, store dot total items. So state dot total items. Save that. F5 specify, and here we have this Redux Devtools, and here now we can call this as a function in this products.jsx. Now add to cart with on click is equal to purchase. So we are not making a purchase right now, but we are just adding it to cart, or add simple name, and oh, I will import actions. I will import this add item from actions, and you can add a write actions.index.js, but that's the point of naming a file index.js. You should not write if you will not write index.js, that is completely fine. That is assumed to be index.js from actions, dot slash actions, right, or dot slash action, because that is in the components. Save that, and here we do add item, give it some properties, props dot title and props dot price. Save that. Oh, now this was export, not a default export. F5, add it is not defined. Yes. Add it. Now const add it is equal to save that. 5 to cart. Now we are not seeing that, so in cart in this cart.jsx we will import use dispatch, not use dispatch, use selector. That is a custom hook from React Redux, and I said that React Redux does a great job as a bridge. So use selector and state, and you will have to pick what are you looking for. So this is, we created a store, and we want the items, or the total items. We want the total items, so state dot total items. So, and we save it as a const items, okay, is equal to, and we do here items. Save F5, add to cart, and we see this Redux in action, and this is so cool, right? And even interesting thing is that you could even have a button here that takes you to the cart, and you have a custom cart component that shows you that how many what items do you actually have in your cart.